So now we're going to learn how to send a cognitive assessment, and there are basically three ways to send a cognitive assessment. The first you already know about, so let's go to send assessments, and we need to invite by email. So let's see if we can find our Roger Rabbit here. Roger at Hardware Group, there he is. And a note here, cognitive assessments can only be sent by email. You can't invite by link or anything else along here. You can only send them by email. We're going to click next, and you've seen this before. So let's say that Roger's already done his cognitive assessment. We can click now, he's already done his behavioural assessment, and we can now click cognitive assessment. You might notice that there's now another little pop-up box that's arrived. So he'd already done his behavioural assessment. We now want to send a cognitive assessment, but the software is also asking us, do we want to send the cognitive assessment after the recipients have completed the behavioural assessment? So in other words, they're going to get them bang, bang, straight after each other. We could click that if we wanted to. Probably not best practice unless you've actually clued up the candidate or the employee that this is going to happen. And we'll talk about employees shortly. So in this case, we're not going to tick that box. We're going to go to the next screen, but we've ordered a cognitive assessment now. And what you'll see here is the first one is the behavioural assessment, which Roger's already done. Here's the cognitive assessment down the bottom here. Take the PI cognitive assessment, hi, and I might, edit this and say, hi, Roger. Oops, hi, Roger. And you can write other things in here as well if you want to, making sure that they actually take the sample cognitive assessment first so that they kind of know what they're in for. Again, you can preview the email. This is a much longer email, as you can see. It tells them all about it. It's a 12-minute timed assessment consisting of 50 questions. Read the below carefully. Do it in a distraction-free environment. It's compatible with pretty much everything. And you can take an assessment ahead of time. So it will actually say to you, once you begin the assessment, it will say, if you'd like to try this out first, there's a 5-minute test one that you can do. And I always actually type something in the message to say, look, we strongly recommend that you try the test assessment first so that you get an idea of what's coming. And then obviously, if you're happy with the way the email reads, then you can click send now, and Roger's now got his cognitive assessment as well. So let's have a look at another way of sending one. I'm going to go back to my dashboard here. And if you have been sending behavioural assessments to candidates, and maybe then you've had a look through, yes, this one looks particularly good, he or she is a good fit behaviourally for the job, and now we've done a bit of a phone screen, we would like to send a cognitive assessment. Can you see under recently completed here, here's Harley's name, and right alongside Harley's behavioural assessment, it actually says to me, send new assessment. And if I click on that, I think he's going to come up alongside Roger here, but let's see. Nope, Harley's there, and you can see invite by email, click next. Which one do I want to send? I want to send the cognitive assessment, this one, because he's already done it. It's not ticked because it's been completed. We don't need to send another one. And then we would click next again, and now as you see, we've got the assessments yet again. Now, all of these can be done in different languages. So if I wanted to switch to Croatian, for instance, I can do that, and you can see it's automatically translated this assessment email into that language, and there's over 70 languages here to choose from. So there's another way of sending a cognitive assessment. The final way that I'm going to show you is actually if we're in the job page itself. So here I am in a job called Office Administration Manager. I have some candidates down here. Now, I might not want to send, you wouldn't choose to send a cognitive assessment to someone who is a 3 out of 10 behavioural fit. That would be wasting their time and yours. But you can see that maybe this person here, Denise, looks like a good fit, 9 out of 10. And right from here, I can send a new assessment. And that's going to take me straight back to the screen again that says send it here. You know this screen already. Let me jump back one screen because you might have picked up something that was a bit lower down. You might see here for Lisa that the assessment was sent, and this is obviously an older file that I'm playing in, but you can see it says expired and send new assessment. So if a candidate hasn't taken the assessment within 7 days and they've forgotten or they didn't see it come through, you can send a new assessment straight from here as well. So that's how you send a cognitive assessment. Let's take one moment to just think about whether you would apply this to existing employees. It can be a bit of a minefield because when you send it to existing employees, they kind of all want to know what their score is. And unless you've set up some very clear expectations to start with that no one is going to be privy to their score, you can run into difficulties because sometimes people then start comparing what they consider to be intellect. And it can lead to some people feeling like a sense of discrimination that, they're better than me or I'm worse than them. So we tend to avoid sending it to existing employees unless you can set it up properly and say, look, we're just going to gather data on everyone. No one's going to get a copy of their cognitive score, not even us. And then only the account user, in fact, the account owner, I should say, is the person who has access to cognitive scores. So even in your accounts, I can't see anyone's cognitive score. You would actually have to send that to me separately because for privacy reasons, I don't get to see that. That's just a little note on sending cognitive assessments. So I hope you enjoy this PI Power half hour.